everybody. Welcome back to another layout update. We've got a whole lot to talk to you about, as per usual at this point, so we'll hop right into it again. As you can see here, I have yet another 2 additional locomotives to add to the fleet. I've got here 2310 and 2309. These were a part of the most recent run that Atlas did in, I think it was 2021 that they were delivered. Might have been 2022 actually. But I just got these in today, and I actually already did a whole bunch of work to 2310, and I haven't done it to 2309 yet because I kind of wanted to be able to compare the difference between the two in today's layout update before I go ahead and upgrade it the way I have 2310. So as you can see on 2310 here, I've gone ahead and added the pilot mount ditch lights. I do have to still touch up a little bit of light bleed, but I ran out of black paint, so that'll have to wait until I can go get more. These locomotives come stock with just LEDs, which are nice, but they're very yellow LEDs, as you can kind of see in 2309, and I'm not a huge fan of how yellow they are. So on 2310, I went ahead and pulled out those LEDs when I did the ditch light install, and I think they're looking a lot better now. They're the same color as the ditch lights, so everything matches, which is nice. But these units came stock with ESU, and yeah, I'm looking forward to having them on the layout. All right, so now we'll take a quick look at the area that those two locomotives were sitting in as a whole. As you can see, there's a lot of changes here. Well, you might not be able to notice actually, but you will when I point them out. As you can see, the first change here is that we've actually got all of the fascia in for the Penn Yan and Gang Mills side of the layout. Going to be able to get that painted here pretty shortly. But really happy with how that looks. You'll also maybe notice that I've got the track painted for Gang Mills Yard. So it's a nice kind of rail brown, and then the top's all been, cleaned off, and then some of the ties have been weathered, but that might be, you can kind of see some of it looks a little bit more faded in places and stuff. So that's all done, and then as we move closer down this way, you'll see that I've actually started to do just a little bit of ballast here coming off the bridge. So that's all in. It's actually actively drying, so I'll go back in and clean some of the ballast off the ties as it dries as well. And then if you look this way, you'll also notice that we've got ground foam down all the way along the main line to Penn Yan. And then the next step here will be static grass. This is kind of going to be a tree-covered hillside just to kind of break up the scene. And where the fascia came in, obviously I had a big gap, so we're going to use some cardboard lattice and plaster cloth to kind of cover that up and merge it in with this hillside. And then we'll try to do our best to kind of smooth this all out and then cover it in trees. So stay tuned, though. We got still more to talk about. You might have noticed that it's actually a lot brighter over here on the Penn Yan and Gang Mills side of the layout, and that's because we've added an entire new fixture of track lighting for the Gang Mills side of the layout here, and it makes it a lot more illuminated over here so that you can actually see when you're working. This was a change that I knew I really needed to make already, but we actually held our first official shakedown operating session where I had a bunch of people from the Lakeshores division of the NMRA over to operate the layout. And, there was a little bit of feedback, which I honestly was expecting, that Gang Mills in particular, as well as Geneva Yards, were both a little too dark. So both of them got lighting upgrades. We'll show you Geneva in a little bit. But one of the things that also came out of the session as well was the fact that we needed to change up the orientation of Gang Mills Yard a little bit. So prior to painting it, I actually pulled out the entire yard ladder and moved it from where it did start right at the end of this curve switch and then moved it down an entire foot, just so that there was a little bit of a straight track break in between the sharp curve here, coming off the bridge and into the yard ladder. This has made it just a little bit more reliable to operate trains over, especially as you're assembling trains. It's a lot easier to kind of move back and forth without worrying about having any derailments or anything like that, which is pretty nice. All right, and if you follow my Facebook page, you'll have already noticed that this is the area of the layout that I promised would have the biggest change over the next, for this layout update, I should say. As you can see here, we're in Geneva Yard, and there's a lot going on here. The first elephant in the room really is that we've got backdraft up here, which I just finished up on Sunday. I had these printed out. I edited them Saturday, had them printed out, and installed them on Sunday. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's a little mirrory in the middle, and I wish I would have realized when I was doing the editing that it looked that way, but I'm still happy with how it turned out, and it'll look great as soon as there's plenty going on in front of it. You won't really be able to tell that, I don't think. The next thing that's new here in Geneva is that we actually got the track painted here as well. So with that backdrop up, we're actually ready to go right into scenery over here whenever I feel like getting around to it. But one thing I tried to do differently here, just to have a little bit of differentiation, and you might be able to pick it up on camera, is the track that's going to be the main line is actually, that's just Rust-Oleum dark brown, and then all of the yard tracks and the locomotive tracks are camouflage brown. So there's a little bit of a difference between the two different types of track here, which I think should help kind of newer operators understand when they're switching in Geneva Yard what's the main and what's not, and how they should be operating it. But in Geneva, we also obviously are a lot brighter over here too, because we've got another set of track light over here as well. I'm super happy with this one as well. I think maybe eventually I'm going to add another light fixture over on this side of this beam, just because it's still a little bit dark over here. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Yeah, we'll wait a little while before we're putting up a whole nother light fixture over here, I think, because it'll do the job for now, for sure. But yeah, that's about it for this layout update, guys. I once again really appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.